Coming up on tonight's This Week in Politics.
That Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to our country, and that once again, we honored our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help us God.
The United States House votes to again impeach President Trump, this time for his role in the January 6th riot at the United States Capitol. Trump now becoming the only president in U.S. history to be impeached twice.
We are bringing in thousands of National Guard members to secure the city and ensure that a transition can occur safely and without incident.
The president says he is committed to an orderly handoff to President-elect Biden this coming Wednesday. Nonetheless, thousands of National Guardsmen are bivouacked at the U.S. Capitol tonight as federal law enforcement warns of the possibility of another round of violence in Washington. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Allen. Thank you for being with us here tonight. For a second time during his term in office, Donald Trump was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. Impeachment backers say the president incited a riot at the United States Capitol, with Democrats pointing to this comment at a rally the president held just outside of the White House on January 6th, right before the violence started.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Passions during the impeachment floor debate ran hot. The memories of having to hide and seek safety as rioters roamed through the Capitol, breaking into the House and Senate chambers, were still fresh.
If we do not hold him accountable and remove him from power, a future attempt could very well be successful. The survival of our democracy depends on defeated candidates accepting their defeats.
The President of the United States incited this insurrection, this armed rebellion against our common country. He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love.
Republicans argued during that floor debate that impeachment proceedings will only fan the flames of political discord, and they say not accomplish much else.
We should be focused on bringing the nation together. Instead, Democrats are going to impeach the president for a second time 1 week before he leaves office. Why? Why? Politics and the fact that they want to cancel the president.
You hate him for defending our borders. You hate him for letting families and small businesses keep what they earn, for trying to keep the agents of government off their back. You hate him for putting America first, which is what I thought we do when we swear the oath.
But that House debate also showed that the president's rock-ribbed support among the Republican caucus has suffered since the riot. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, a staunch Trump supporter, says the president does shoulder some of the blame for what happened.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action by President Trump. Accept his share of responsibility, quell the brewing unrest, and ensure President-elect Biden is able to successfully begin his term.
Also, 10 Republican members of the U.S. House voted to impeach the president, among them Washington State Representative Dan Newhouse.
The president took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Last week, there was a domestic threat at the door of the Capitol, and he did nothing to stop it. That is why, with a heavy heart and clear resolve, I will vote yes on these articles of impeachment.
South Dakota Republican Representative Dusty Johnson voted no on the impeachment measure, and we were able to speak with him soon after that vote was cast.
I think we need to make sure we keep our priorities in mind. Number one, we need to keep the peace for the next few days. Number two, we need to bring this country back together. And number three, we do want to hold people who've done wrong accountable, but with due process. Impeachment does not meet any of those three main priorities.
Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar voting for impeachment. She was one lawmaker who explained her vote on the House floor.
We have been asked to turn a blind eye to the criminality, corruption, and blatant disregard to the rule of law by the tyrant president we have in the White House. We as a nation can no longer look away.
Not long after the impeachment vote, the White House releasing a video of the president. In it, the president urged calm and called for his supporters to not be violent.
Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country. There is never a justification for violence. No excuses, no exceptions. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice.
From the U.S. House, the impeachment proceedings now head to the United States Senate, where it is possible the impeachment trial will begin on Wednesday, the same day President-elect Biden is sworn in as the 46th President of the United States. The New York Times has reported that Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell may back the idea of convicting the president as a way to end the president's association with the Republican Party. Longtime Iowa Republican Senator Chuck Grassley was asked if he had any advice for the president following the impeachment.
But now, with the situation since the November election, lie low a while.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer calling on McConnell to order the Senate back to Washington to take up the impeachment issue.
And we could come back ASAP and vote to convict Donald Trump and get him out of office now, before any further damage is done.
But by the end of the week, it was clear that that wouldn't be happening. As it stands, the Senate is set to resume its session this coming Tuesday. Next on This Week in Politics, concerns about violence at state capitals nationwide. Welcome back to This Week in Politics on KSFY. This week, the Federal Bureau of Investigation warned of potential problems at each state capital in the United States, with the possibility of unrest and violence like what happened at the U.S. Capitol. In Iowa, security officials there say they are ready. This past Monday, the Capitol in Des Moines was the scene of a protest, albeit a peaceful one. People gathering who are against mask mandates, they gathered in the Capitol Rotunda, maskless, as some in the Capitol voiced concern about the COVID-19 risk the group posed. At the South Dakota State Capitol in Pierre, security is always a top priority, but now even more so in light of this very specific FBI warning. Here's Jacob Sersasimo.
With the potential of armed protests in the future here in South Dakota, law enforcement is keeping quiet about their plans to protect government buildings. As the 2021 legislative session kicks off in Pierre, law enforcement has a larger security presence around the Capitol. However, the Department of Public Safety won't say whether that police presence will stick around into next week, when the FBI is warning about armed protests. Both the Pierre Police Department and Hughes County Sheriff's Office say they work closely with Capitol security. The Hughes County Sheriff's Office says they are aware of the possible threat, and some state legislators say they do feel safe inside the Capitol walls.
The security we have here at the South Dakota Capitol is really good. I've never personally felt threatened, and honestly, I expect to have peaceful protesters.
Now, the Department of Public Safety would not release specifics or any known information about next week at the Capitol or any other government buildings. Jacob Sersasimo, Dakota News Now.
In Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz has called in the National Guard to stand watch over the state capitol in St. Paul. Melissa Hortman is the Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives.
What I heard from Commissioner Harrington yesterday is that their days of concern that they will be on high alert will be from the 16th through the 21st, but that they don't have any recommendation at this point in time for us to change any of our procedures.
Of course, we are keeping an eye on what is happening here at home, across the region, and in Washington. The South Dakota Legislature began its 2021 session this week. We will hear from State House reporter Austin Goss when This Week in Politics continues here on KSFY. Welcome back to This Week in Politics here on KSFY. This past week marked the first week of the 2021 South Dakota legislative session. Our State House reporter Austin Goss offers a look back and a look ahead to what's happening in Pierre.
The South Dakota legislative session kicked off this week with a packed docket for the next 2 months. COVID funding, marijuana, and legal sports gambling are just a few of the issues that legislators will be dealing with this year. However, legislators got the week started Tuesday hearing from Governor Kristi Noem for the state of the state, who hit on many right-leaning ideas she would like to see become law this year. but focused on continuing to attract people to South Dakota.
Those who have spent the last 9 months shut down or locked up in other states, South Dakota is open. We have stayed open the entire time, and that is how we will operate for as long as I am governor. Now, one of my chief priorities as governor is to grow South Dakota, and that is why you hear me inviting those who cherish and value our way of life to come join us.
Similar in concept, the state of the judiciary came up Wednesday with newly appointed South Dakota Supreme Court Chief Justice Stephen Jensen. Mike Faith, chairman of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, delivered the State of the Tribes address Thursday. This coming week, legislators will reconvene in Pierre Tuesday. That same day, they will see Governor Noem's executive orders officially filed. Later in the week, both chambers will convene together for their annual memorial service to honor former legislators that have passed away in the last year. In Pierre, Austin Goss, Dakota News Now.
And that is This Week in Politics for this Sunday night. I'm Brian Allen. Thank you so much for being with us here this evening. Good night from Courthouse Square.